2019, the police are still murdering black folks and getting away with it. In 2018, black women and black children are being assaulted at Waffle Houses by the police. And admittedly, the NFL is not responsible for the aforementioned things, but it has illustrated that the injustices that black people in America face is not really their concern. You know, we just want you to play ball, leave your politics and anything else that you feel you need to say off of the field, okay? Now, and before I get to my question, me and Donna was actually speaking about this just a minute ago before we came on here. I guess there's this meme circulating in regards to Tim Tebow. I guess he was, in a way, ostracized. And they said, I guess, ultimately why he's not in the playing football anymore. Or no, he got 3 contracts, even though he would kneel. But they said it wasn't during the national anthem, but he would still kneel on the field to bring awareness to abortions. And, you know, he promoted his religion, which was Christianity. He would have scriptures written under his eyes and all that kind of stuff. So people are trying to make the comparison. In fact, I saw one lady on my timeline, and I'm going to get to you guys' questions. One lady on my timeline, she drew the comparison, and she says, well, it's not fair that, you know, Tim Tebow got ostracized, and nobody said anything about it, but now that it's going on with Kaepernick, Donovan is cleaning his table. Sorry. That's what that noise is.
Sorry.
In case you guys are wondering. So she was saying that it's not fair, and I said, well, I don't think it's fair for you to compare a guy that's kneeling for Bible scriptures to a guy who's kneeling because black people are being
shot
murdered.
In the street.
I said, if you think those are the same things, then to me, therein lies the issue that you're even trying to compare the two. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't think that there is a comparison. I mean, I really don't. But anyway, so the questions I have is, why can't we pull ourselves away from watching football? In addition, why are we so loyal to things that unapologetically show us that they only care about our money, but they do not care about us? So, and I'm saying us because a lot of times we want to put the onus on the football players and say, oh, well, they should stop playing, you know, because, and I agree they should. I think that at the very least they should go and form their own league. But we keep putting it on them and saying, well, they should do something. Well, how about this? If we stop watching football, calm down. I know that was a lot for you to take in right now, okay? But if we stop watching football, then sponsorships will go down. The money will start to, you know, back away. And I mean, and so there it goes. So I think we need to include all of ourselves in that narrative. Why are we so loyal to something like the NFL? Now, and while I'm waiting for you guys to answer, I will just say this. As I said before, Trump and Pence, you got an answer? Okay. Trump and Pence and a lot of, you know, these Republicans and I guess some of the Democrats are like, yes.
Not some of the Democrats, all of them.
A lot of them are like, yes. About time you let these Negroes know who's the boss. Now get out there and play ball. And you know what? To me, the other very telling but not said a part of it is, we know black people ain't gonna bust a grape. They gonna be out there in all their football gear.
That's right.
And you know they'll be mad, but they're still not
Walking Dead.
Right? They're still not gonna withdraw, even though it's gonna hurt. You know, everybody for the most part likes football, but. Again.
No, but okay, there's 300 football players. Why would I want to lose my money because, hey, did this good white man paying me $16 million a year?
Come on now. Listen, no doubt. I'm not saying that it's not hard to walk away from that type of money, but why not? I mean, like, to me, there would be no amount of money to pay for my dignity and loss of self-respect. I don't understand at the end of the day. What do they call the NFL? Not for long?
Not for long.
You won't be there for long, what?
But here's the thing. Greed is good. And that's what we're at. That's where we're at.
That's what we're telling people. Greed is good?
That's the whole thing. Look at the wealth disparity. Greed is good.
Right.
It's all about me.
Right.
You got a whole generation that's been raised on that.
But yet you have the poor people that are funding.
Of course.
And we're
because one day I'm going to be how many young black children are going to be NFL football players or basketball players, and mama's right there with them, waiting for the payday.
But what happens when that don't happen?
Oh, then they turn to drugs and all that other stuff, and whatever.
Okay, so let me get to these comments. Quentin says, "Looking nice. It looks great. Thank you." Hey, Al, he said that AJ is here for the DK. Woo woo. And Samuel, he says, aren't most of the I think you meant NFL owners Jewish? I don't know. Are they?
No.
Because I know one of them's, what is it, Indian or Arab or something, Jacksonville?
Yeah, he's Indian.
That's why I said mostly white.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's one or two.
How many owners are black?
One?
0.
What, a half?
0.
0? And there's not no mixed ones out there?
0. There are no black owners. There are no black owners in the NFL.
Hey, DeMarcus. And Sydney says, I think the Democrat Party always succumb to the Republicans. Not think, but they do.
Well, no, they don't succumb. You got to remember, every so many years, the party switch. So basically, a Democrat is really Republican. Look at Dianne Feinstein's voting record. She votes right in line with the Republican agenda.
She won't right in line
Nancy
with her
Pelosi. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. She won't impeach.
Right.
She won't do this. She won't do that. She goes right along with it because it's the ruling party. So
right. And then Samuel, you say, I'll be nice, Negroes for life, NFL. And then you also say the University of Missouri showed them the way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you talk about when the football players said they weren't going to play. I can't remember.
Right.
Was it? I can't remember. Oh, because they kneeled or something. Something happened.
Yeah, and they refused to play.
Right, and then the university's like, okay, so what was it you were saying now? I do remember, but and that was college. The college kids. Now, admittedly, let's throw all the factors in there. They don't have, potentially they have millions of dollars to lose, but...
Well, no, the college players don't get paid because the college players say...
And Amanda says, hey, booby.
Hey,
whatever.
There she is. There she is. That's right on. The college players, they don't... they say that the education that the college players are getting is worth thousands of dollars. They're getting a free education.
Right.
But the NCAA makes billions off of these kids. They get nothing. They get crumbs.
I think that needs to change. Yeah. So... I mean, can you guys tell me why we're having a hard time just saying, you know what, this is going to hurt for me not to partake in the football season until, maybe forever. You know what I mean? Because from what everybody's saying, too, it's unconstitutional what the NFL is doing anyway, but it's like, who's going to stop them?
Well, no, not really.
Not really?
Because the NFL is a private institution of owners. So as an employer, I can impose any type of thing within my business structure.
Within the business structure.
However, a lot of these stadiums are funded by public tax dollars.
Got it. So there's that gray area.
There's that gray area.
Got it. But, they probably like, they ain't smart enough, or not even that we're not smart enough, but what we gonna do?
Exactly. Because guess what? That stadium that they're building in LA, the Staples Center, all these little stadiums that they're building all over the place. Part-time jobs. Who gets those part-time jobs? Negroes and Mexicans. Part-time. No benefits, part-time.
Right.
So guess what? Now, if the guys don't play...
It's your fault.
Right, I'm not working.
But then it becomes our fault for not going because we didn't help. We didn't take a job from our brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
And then Al says the Raiders general manager is black and he was not invited to the owners meeting.
Because he's the general manager.
Well, he's a general manager. Well, are general managers...
they're not owners. They're not owners.
Are they typically invited to
meetings?
Oh, okay.
No.
Hey, y'all speaking Spanish to me. I don't know nothing about that. And Amanda says he wasn't invited or didn't go. So I think Amanda says, GMs... were GMs... She asked the same question I did. Were they invited as well?
No, the GMs are not invited. The owners are the ones that make the rule decision on the committees. The GMs have nothing to do with the ownership meetings.
Got it. And then so Ben says, "What's up, D? Hey, you said I stopped effing with the NFL when the cap issue started, and I have no intention of watching. You got potential sex predators, wife beaters, etc. on your team. That's cool, but a man, but a man speaks up against police brutality and he's blackballed. That shows me that they think what they think of me." And people that look like me. Nah, F you NFL, NCAA football is better anyway.
Right. Who was that again?
That was Ben.
Ben, please tell us how you really feel.
No, I agree. I mean, admittedly, I wasn't like this huge football fanatic. I watch it every once in a while, but...
You don't watch it at all.
You ain't right. You ain't lying, okay? But I'm just saying. But after how I saw they did Kaepernick, it's like, wow, this man is standing up for us.
And what did we do? Didn't even back him.
Didn't back him.
Didn't back him at all.
A lot of us did, but it should have. Like, why are we having a hard time? Like, I even think about something like a donut shop or a weave shop where they choking out black women. Why do we have a hard time shutting those places down? There was a place, I saw a video the other day of an Asian owner of some restaurant. He hits a black employee working there because she gave a refund after his wife jacked up the order. And then he talking about, that's your boss. You don't talk to your boss like that. And he hits the girl.
You talk about like, you do what your boss say.
But why do we have a hard time staying out of those places?
Because you Negroes know how to stick together. You know how.
You've been in Asia too long, okay? And Cindy says the NFL is a non-profit organization.
Yes.
Okay. And then you also say no, only owners go to the owners' meeting. Okay. And then you also say they have general manager meetings as well.
Right.
And then Al says at the Texans game, and it's nothing but blacks who work the concession stands and blacks and Mexican people cleaning up the stadium after the game.
Just like LA. Part-time work.
Okay, but to his point, and listen, I know in nowadays, especially if you live in California, any job will do. Because it's high to live out here, okay?
Mm-hmm. I work 3 jobs. I got 3.
Somebody is texting me, and then when somebody texts me, hold on 1 second, you guys.
Why you Negroes not get together? Do group economic. You know sense. That's why we taking over.
Okay, I have to get rid of my when I have my sound on and see it jacks up my
flow.
Yeah, my screen. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so yes, I understand that all those people are working there and they're gonna need some jobs and stuff, but it's like, come on.
We love taking the crumbs.
But look at the Montgomery bus boycott. You think those Negroes wanted to walk a whole 10 country miles to work?
But you got to remember, you're dealing with a different generation who understood what was happening. We're dealing with a generation that was given the least path of resistance. I'm spitting all over the place. The least path of resistance.
Right. And
that's what we're dealing with today. Because, look, if it's hard, would you expect me to go in my Air Jordans and go walk?
I do.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I do, especially if it's for the betterment of everybody.
No. I'm out for me.
It's not for you?
Yeah, I'm out for me.
But when you get your heads cracked in, you're going to want everybody to come.
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just checking.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see here. All right. All right. So, Samuel, you say, could this be practiced for openly taking basic human rights from black people? You also say maybe making laws that would outlaw the last man standing. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, free speech, that was... waking up the masses. I hear you meant to say there is a bill in Congress now to that effect. Yeah, and Minister Louis Farrakhan gave a speech today, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it very well could be the beginning of, like we're getting ready to be we're in voter season, I guess you could say, election season.
Election season. Mm-hmm.
How many of us are actually going to go vote?
None of us.
And this is this is more important than the presidential election, the local election. Mm-hmm. Like we have a DA here in Riverside County that is a staunch proponent of being tough on crime.
That means being tough on niggas.
Exactly. That's exactly what that means. But we won't even educate ourselves to see what that means. We won't even go vote, and then, because we know proportionally white people vote, and we won't vote to keep a man out that one of us or somebody we know is going to go sit in a courtroom for something probably very minor, and they're going to give them something, whether it's a misdemeanor, a felony, or something, because he's tough on crime. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that could be a precursor to, we'll take those rights away from them. Just wait till they see what else we got in store for them.
Well, for our listeners and people that are listening, do you guys realize the Dred Scott decision has not been repealed?
Right. Well, what we going to do?
Okay, you got these Democrats and you vote overwhelmingly as a Democrat, but yet they have not petitioned to withdraw the Dred Scott decision. If you can tell everybody what the Dred Scott decision basically said. Well,
it basically says that you should not, as a black man, you should not have the same rights as a white man, and therefore I can't really consider you an American or like me.
Right. Or basically, your rights, even if you did have rights, are not to be respected.
Right. A black man will never have rights that a white man should respect.
Right. Exactly.
So, and then to your point, that's still on the books. But you know what? To my point is this: who cares? Like if we were to
do our own thing,
like we're so busy trying to integrate into its people who don't want us there. Like I don't want to be there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But like, why do we care at this point?
Well, again, okay, you have this NFL thing going on. How many Democrats in Congress are black? I haven't heard one single word.
And they're not going to. Kamala, none of these people.
Right.
None of them. And then Cindy says, and we steadily recording us getting abused. Stop calling 911. Grab that owner of the store and get 2-piece to the throat.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, like, why are you recording it? I mean, I get it. You want to get that on. And then that guy that you're talking about.
WordStar.
Yeah, as far as at the restaurant that hit the girl, the police came and said, well, he didn't hit her that hard. It wasn't enough force for them to arrest her.
But if that was a white person, that would be a public assault.
Right. But if she wanted to, she can go down to the police station and press charges. If she wanted to.
Now, if the person knew the law, that's a dereliction of duty by the police officer. Then you go down and you're supposed to go down there and ask for internal affairs and get that officer in trouble. But a lot of us don't know this stuff.
That's what I'm
saying. Right.
And then you also say, Sydney, and also D, they learned from the Montgomery boycott as well. So are you saying they being white people? Explain that. And then Quentin, you say it's not Roger Goodell, it's the owners. True. The owners enforce the rules, and Goodell is the speaker for the owners. Yes, I totally agree with that. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it wasn't even the owners as much as it was Trump, because Trump put that out there like, yo, y'all better handle this. Otherwise, I don't know what Trump's powers are.
No, he doesn't have any powers when it comes to that. Private business, presidents don't have any.
So why is he so influential?
Because what it is number one, he's the president, and he's catering to his base. And then, it's so ironic that here's a man who doesn't respect the Constitution. He doesn't he doesn't respect anything, but he has the nerve. A man that has 5 deferments, and he's talking about patriotism.
Right.
When he was called 5 times, he had 5 deferments and bone spurs.
He has some bone spurs.
Right.
Well, I don't.
But he's so patriotic.
Bone spurs hurt.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing with bone spurs.
Now, and that's 2 years, and that's 2 months after supposedly graduating college. They said, "Okay, come on, let's go." He comes up with bone spurs.
He was shaking his toupee like, I don't think so.
Right.
And let's see. My daughter's so silly. She talking about, can you read? Because I jacked up the comments. And for those of you guys don't know, my daughter's in the back behind the
screen.
She talking about, I'm just going to be behind the curtain. Mm-hmm.
Pulling the strings.
There's something wrong with her. And then Cindy says, Quentin, there were so many owners who said they were. Oh, my dad is calling. Hold on. God. And Quentin says, Quentin, there were so many. Sydney says, Quentin, there were so many owners who said they were not aware what Roger said. Yeah, because I heard, wasn't it the Jets or something said that they would pay the fine if the players wanted to kneel? They would pay the fine.
Yeah, but the owners, those Jets, and some of these owners are saying that because they see the kickback that's going to come at them in their revenue stream.
Right.
Because if people weren't up in arms about it, they wouldn't have said a thing.
But they're saying overwhelmingly the NFL fans are like happy that they imposed this rule, because we don't need you Negroes disrespecting the flag and the national anthem.
No, and that's fine. The fans, that's true. The fans are overwhelmingly for it, right? You take a lot of those black players out that don't want to play the superstars in there, how many fans are going to be happy about that?
Well, that's why I said, why don't the black players just say, you know what, we're good, we're going to go do our own thing. I would go to those games.
Right, exactly.
I would. I mean, if they help
when you take a lot of the black players out, there ain't much of a football.
It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah, it's like watching. Have you seen the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman? It's like, you get this team and they bring in the scrubs or the scabs. Nobody wants to watch the scabs play.
I know I wouldn't. Yeah. And so, Quentin, you also say, what I was saying is Goodell works for the owners. Yes.
Yeah, he works for the owners. That's right.
Absolutely. I do concede that point. And hey, Tay says, correct. Goodell is just the voice box of the owners. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, it's like, so, but they're all getting all the, from what I understand, Trump is the one that's pulling the strings.
Well, that's because everybody wants to kiss this guy's ass.
Then he said the other day, besides calling them son of a bitches for kneeling, but if anybody who doesn't kneel, they should leave the country.
And here's a guy who keeps having ties to Russia, our enemy.
No, it's not. It's fake news.
Right, it's fake news, but yet all these people are being indicted and going to jail, but it's fake. And here's a guy who has the nerve to talk about patriotic, and he's colluding with our so-called enemy.
It's fake news, Donovan.
Okay, sorry about that.
And also, Sydney also said, we need to vote, eroding the First Amendment and loving the Second Amendment. Absolutely. I mean, listen, voting, we should all spread the word to everybody we know. Get yourself out there to the local elections and vote. Like, I'm doing the work, the studying, so I want to tell all my nieces and nephews, anybody around me, listen, don't vote for this person.
Right.
Vote for this person instead, because this person is not for you. In fact, the district attorney, he's running for re-election. On his Facebook, he's deleting any comments, even if it's a simple question. Like I asked him.
Which he's not supposed to do.
I said, what do you mean that you're tough on crime? Delete it. A couple other people are saying stuff about the crime and this, that, and the other. Deletes the comments.
Which you're not supposed to do. The Supreme Court recently...
What we going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to show up and he's going to be right back in the seat being tough on crime.
Right, exactly.
Right. And then so Ali says, yesterday here at the Willowbrook Mall, it was a very long line. Black people waiting to buy the new Jordan 11s. And I saw Asian people walking by shaking their heads. Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's just... Why?
Well, I can tell you this: in Vietnam, you can get the knockoff Jordan 11s for $65.
Did you bring me some back?
No, I did not. No, I didn't have that kind of money. I mean, they were such knockoffs. It looked like they had it was a sticker on the side of it. You know what I mean? That's how bad they were. Yeah, it was.
That was a jump, man.
Yeah, it was really unbelievable. But.
And then Cindy says, "I disagree with Donovan regarding the Dred Scott case and Democrats. The Republican Party has done nothing for us as well."
Well, okay, and I agree with you, Sydney. I'm not, saying what it is though, politically, these parties switch every so many years. Because remember, there was such a thing called a Dixiecrat.
Right.
The Dixiecrats, when the Nixon came up with the Southern Strategy, what happened to all those Dixiecrats? They all became Republicans.
Right.
And did the Republicans do something for us? Yeah, they did. They freed us from slavery. Outside of that, you're right. They haven't done anything.
And it wasn't because they really wanted to.
Exactly. But
we just love you black people.
And the reason why we went all Democrat is because FDR's New Deal and so many white people went to war that it gave us opportunities to go up north and get these great jobs and these opportunities. And we've been Democrats ever since.
And Donovan speaking the truth, especially with the Democrats, is why we became Democrats. And it wasn't even because FDR wanted to do anything.
No, he didn't want to do anything.
It was his wife.
His wife, right. That's pushing.
FDR didn't even want to be photographed with black people, but his wife was like, well, it's time for us to start embracing Negroes.
And then whenever we get desperate in war, the black person is the deciding factor. What tilted the Civil War?
True.
It was the conscription of the black troops.
And because, now we're giving you a history lesson. We swung Democrat because during that time, if you guys, you weren't there, but if you read your history, it was during the Great Depression. White people were suffering, and so black people were suffering like 10 times worse. And so they said, okay, let's give them something. The New Deal and all that included us. And so we're like, gosh, those Democrats really like us. Right. And so that's how we started going over there. So it wasn't like... And it was all to get our vote. Right. And then in
World War II with all the white men, because remember, they didn't let us fight.
Right.
We were in the sanitary. If you were in the military black person, you were either in sanitary or in the kitchen cooking. Right. You were in the support units.
Right.
So they didn't even let us fight. So as all these white men went to war, you still needed people to make the bombs and stuff like that. And that's where that big mass migration from the South went north to Detroit and filled those positions. And
any more questions, y'all? Y'all got any more history questions?
And that's what gave us the mass Democratic support that we've given to the Democratic Party ever since.
Right. So there you have it. Hey, Marcus, you say we keep losing because we are all over the place. We need to pick one black issue and campaign to fix that. Seriously, we look like fools who cannot figure it out. No, absolutely. And that's true with us deciding to be one party. Like, I don't have a voting party affiliation. I'm nonpartisan. I don't belong to anybody. You liberal, not you liberals, you independents, liberals, Republicans, nobody. Yeah, I want them to wonder, gosh, who's she? What is she going to do?
Demarked, I don't give a shit.
I wanted to, but they didn't have a box there. I want to put a little middle finger up there, but that might have got me in trouble. No, but we agree, Marcus. And Al says, Trump is supposed to be here in Houston on Thursday visiting Santa Fe High School. Are you going? And Deanna, my daughter, who's behind the curtain for some reason,
the Wiz.
Yeah, she says, didn't they change it to penalty yards so it hurts the game then? So
penalty yards.
So I think she's saying,
did they? You know,
so the fine is penalty in yards.
I don't know.
She watches football. I don't. Yeah. I don't know, but I know there'll be a penalty. And so Marcus said, we need to pick something that easily creates unity, which will create a blueprint that guides us one issue at a time. Absolutely. I like that. But we, again, as we said before, we have blueprints. Which blueprint are we going to follow? And all the blueprints are pretty much the same that came from your namesake, Marcus Garvey. All the blueprints that we have now come from his premise. So it's like, that was what, 1923, early 19. Which one are we going to follow?
Well, here's the funny thing: we keep following the same bull crap, but yet, let's say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's a blueprint. Why don't we just try that? We've tried everything else. Why don't we try that?
I'll be honest with you guys. I do donate once a month to that blueprint.
Right.
And, it's a start. It's something.
But why not try that? We have everything else hasn't worked for us.
Right. I mean, it's like, so yeah, we're going to keep creating blueprints. It's like, which one will you be happy with? So I agree with you. And Amanda says owners fine and penalty yards. So Amanda, Deanna, that's your question. Answer. And Cindy says The Replacements was a good movie.
Yes,
hey, excellent. Edward.
Excellent movie.
And then Dean, because your name your middle name is, oh my God. It says F Jesus. Is his middle name?
Wow. No, Dean. That's Jesus. You're in California.
Okay.
You're in California. Jesus.
Son of Kemet, F Jesus Dean.
Mm-hmm.
He says absolutely. Anyway. And Al says conjunctivitis.com. That's a site for sore eyes. Okay. And Dean, he says nothing white people do for black people in history has been to benefit blacks, but used as tools to destroy blacks. We have a consistent need to be accepted by whites. And that's the question that I have from the beginning. Why? Why are we having a hard time pulling away from the NFL?
Well, let me just say this. My boo has a problem with our own people because, like I said, crabs in a basket. Here she is doing the greatest job ever, baby.
I'm talking to you, Amanda.
Yeah, greatest job ever, baby. And yet another black person is
trying to hold her down.
Yeah. Or she's just jealous. Now, not everybody could be all woman like the one I got. Okay,
ain't no woman like the one I got.
So, but that's one of our main problems because we can't stick together. We can't.
Yeah, we're always, as we say, thinking of white man's ice cold in ours. Well, I want to go over there. If the closer I am to whiteness, the better I am, the more people will accept me. I get where we get that from because we've been told ever since we've been brought over here to become slaves is that our blackness would never be good enough. Ever. You and your black skin and all of that, you are the worst of the worst. No one will ever like you. Well, we surely don't like you. And so you have a person who's telling you that you're no good, will never like you. And in the process, they're putting themselves up on this pedestal as I'm the end all be all. And so, at some point in time, you strive to be like that. But as a lot of people have said, we didn't start off being slaves. We start off as kings and queens and other stuff in Africa. We were Africans before we were slaves, and so we have just forgotten who we are. We have no knowledge of self.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen this movie, and I always quote it because it goes back to exactly what you just said. It's called Once We Were Warriors, and it came out in the 90s.
I don't think I've
And it had to do with a slave husband and a woman that was a queen. He was a slave in their tribal thing. It's based in New Zealand. If you guys ever get a chance, you can see it on YouTube.
Once We Were Warriors.
Once We Were Warriors. Okay. You can see clips of it on YouTube, and it's a great movie that talks about that exact what you talk about, how she forgot that she was royalty.
Right.
And she's letting the slave guy with the slave mentality, abuse her and the family and stuff like that. Yeah, go and check that out. And it really hits home about remembering who we are.
And Al. It says, my stepdad and his side piece were participating in a survey about black people using condoms. She said, depends on what's in it for me. Lord have mercy. Y'all stop.
Well, no, wait, who is the side piece?
Some.
Because Al, you always say side piece, but then it's Minnie.
Well, I guess his stepdad was a Rolling Stone. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Okay, right
It sounded like he had a few side pieces.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure it out. Okay.
Well, I don't know which one this one is.
Okay, gotcha.
She was young.
Gotcha.
Pretty young thing.
Young thing.
So I mean, I don't know. That's the question I have. Like I said, I won't be watching. I didn't watch last year. In fact, Al was. I don't want to say he was mad at me. Maybe he hated me a little bit. But
when you went down there for the Texan game?
When I went to Texas, there was the season opener, and I didn't want to go. And he was like, "You're kidding me, right?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding. I'm standing with my brother. I love you though. I'm standing with my brother. I can't go to the game."
Let me give Al, my brother, I'm gonna give you some advice.
Is this out the book of Ike?
This is out the book of Shirzad Ali. When a black woman says no when you are inviting her somewhere, give her a good punch in the mouth.
And then drag me by my hair.
Yes, exactly.
What hair I got left? You a damn fool. Marcus, she says, we cannot pull away from the NFL because we do not see ourselves and our issues as a problem worth solving. We entertain ourselves with our struggles even before we take crimes against black people. Let's see. Crimes against black people seriously. We get a foolish joke or a meme that waters down the crime. No, absolutely. Like I said, you guys, I'm perplexed. But I guess I've never really been a fan of anything to that degree to where I could not see myself separating it from it. I don't know, in some respects, I guess football is all American. But it's like, as black people, you're not even considered American. I mean, we just talked about the Dred Scott decision that's still on the books. Many people don't consider us Americans. Like, if I was a football player, I would feel so, I don't know what I would feel, but just going on the field, knowing that I got all these white spectators looking at me and they don't give a damn about anything that's going on with me. They just want me to get my black self out there and play ball. Right. Shut up, boy. Entertain us. That's what it was in slavery. Just entertain us.
I'm going to tell you this. I just came back from Vietnam, and I'm going to tell you this. If you saw my Facebook page, go to Donovan Sadiq. You can see me up there. I'll add you, whatever the deal is. And I put all these videos up. Notice in the videos, I was the only black guy there.
Yeah, I noticed that. You're the only black person out there.
There was a secured area, and I went with the South Africans. I've met all kinds of people from all over the world there. Here's the funny thing. They kept asking me questions in regards to, like, we're clowns. You know, are you an entertainer? Are you a rapper? Are you a sports person? The image that is perceived about black people
I'm Denzel.
The broke Denzel. I'm the broke one. But the image that is perceived of black people is so negative that even the Asians, the only reason I got a halfway respect is because I showed my credit cards. And that's the only reason I was let in certain areas, the high-end areas, because I had credit cards. Because, they figured that we're all broke, we're all gangsters, we're all criminals. That is the image that's being portrayed.
But yet they want to come over and get our money, though.
And they're getting it. And they're getting it.
Right. And so, Dean, you say, I haven't watched football in 2 years.
Oh, my God. That hurts me.
He's down for the cause.
He's
down for the liberation of black people.
I respect that.
And nobody black should be watching football, even you.
Wait a minute.
I said even you.
I know. Wait. I am down for the black folks too, but I just got to get that one game in. It's very important, that one game.
You got to just watch the season opener?
Yeah, I just got to watch the season
opener. And in the middle?
Yeah, in the middle.
And then playoffs?
Yeah,
okay.
It's just like that guy that wants to get the zigzags.
Yeah,
There's always that one that wants to get in the store and you're protesting.
I'm just going in there real quick.
Right.
I know y'all protesting, but I'm going in there real quick. And then Jay says, D, your haircut is really cute. That's a good look. Thank you so much. It was really hot. Really hot, and so I had to just shave it off.
Absolutely.
But thank you.
Yeah. I wish Tay would hurry up and come join the show. It ain't like you're busy.
You don't know what Tay is doing?
Well, I know she out there, macking and everything, but
that's a lot of work sometimes.
But look, put it in the schedule. 3:00 Sundays.
And Charles says, sorry I'm late. No, you ain't late. You always on time, brother.
No. Hey, we don't respect black people time in here.
Yes, we do. Come on with it. Dean says, that's why they always telling us to go home. We're talking about in Asia and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
and I'm going to tell you, when you go overseas, if you don't have cash, money, and flaunt that, they will not respect you whatsoever.
I personally wouldn't want to go to Asia if that's all that's going on. I know why you went to Asia, because it was cheap.
Yeah.
And he was going to go find your brothers and
sisters and cousins.
I do know for a fact that Donovan did want to go to Africa, but he's like, the ticket is
$1,000 just to get there.
Yeah, he said the ticket was stupid.
Yeah,
so
it was crazy.
He's working on it.
And you know what? I think that's a plot too, because the ticket is so high. How many black people are going to take $1,000 just to get on a plane?
I've seen a ticket, a round trip, for $2,200 once.
So not including your hotel, it's not including your food.
Right.
When I can go to Asia for $400.
Right.
I got to look at the economic thing of it.
Oh, man, brother, listen, I can't tell you what to do with your money. Okay?
And then, of course, I was raised in Asia, so I'm a little bit more biased to it.
Right.
So.
Okay. And then Al says, me and my white friend Dan were having lunch, I think you're trying to say, and I finished my burger combo before he did. I threw away my drink cup, so at that point, his ice was colder than mine.
That's your man. That is your man. So,
Deanna, that's not. I can read. That's not me. I'm reading it as is. Okay. And my daughter's like, "Can you read?" And Charles says, "Exactly. We are only entertainers to them, property to the owners and fans ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
You're nothing more, nothing less. Like I said, the issue that Kaepernick was kneeling for is still there. It's worse.
Right. It's worse now. And here's the funny thing. Just like you said, we're entertainers, whatever. Whenever there's a black issue come out, who do they trump in front of us? James Brown, or it's an entertainer.
James Brown dead now.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean? But back in the day when the riots were happening in the 60s, they went and got James Brown, Bill Cobb, these people that are entertainers. You're like,
Malcolm X spoke about that too. He said that's what they do. They get these Negroes, these entertainers.
Nobody goes to Robin Williams, let's say, as an example, and says, "What is your opinion about?" Yeah, he's dead too. But my point is, they don't go to these they don't go to white entertainers and say, "What do you think about?"
Why do you think they go to black entertainers for black people?
Because that's who we follow.
That's who we worship. That's who we look up to, the entertainers. Absolutely.
And
then Ali says, let me see, make sure I didn't miss a comment. Ali says, I've learned my lesson. Once you come back to Houston, I will make sure the Texans will have a road game. Forget you.
No, you don't need to do, like I said, a good punch in the mouth.
Shahrzad Ali, that's not what she said, by the way, okay? You're taking it all out of context.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Richard, he says, while I think the NFL is wrong, is kneeling the only visible protest? There are other physical forms. For instance, locking arms and holding hands with heads bowed. The NFL already has a powder keg of issues with this. If the players use a form of protest that falls within the rules, the league would be unlikely to chant the rules. Well, what about if they just raise the fist? Like John Carlos and Tommy Smith did.
Right. Well,
why don't they just raise? But then somebody will be mad at that. Oh, you're being disrespectful.
Well,
that black power stuff.
Well, here's the thing. If I was a football player, major sports entertainer, you're part of the collective bargaining agreement. The collective bargaining agreement says this is what we're going to, distribute the wealth. Right. Just put it in the collective bargaining agreement. If I as a player don't agree with that bullshit, we're not doing it.
Right.
Well,
you're the player and they're the owners.
Right, but there's also a collective bargaining agreement. So if we agree, we shouldn't do that anymore as a group, then we're not going to do it.
Obviously, that's not the case because as you guys remember, and by the way, Tay says you play too much. But if y'all remember, then they get a couple of black football players to come meet with the owners or whoever it was, and they decided that they were going to end the protest. Like, how you decide to end the protest? Yeah,
you're right.
And you wasn't even out there in the protest.
Right.
I'm not going to say it.
Yes.
And so Marcus says, but let's be honest, we are asking NFL players to sacrifice for people who right now would make that sacrifice, or you said would make that sacrifice
themselves.
A sacrifice in vain.
Yep, I agree.
Because we complain but never sign up to support.
I agree.
That is a good way to look at it. If I give up but see, to me, it's like if one happens, the other one has got to happen. If I stop playing, then people will stop watching.
Right.
If I stop watching, then where's the incentive to play?
Right. And then another thing people got to understand, too. The reason why Trump is putting his 2 cents into it because he's the president and has a big podium to do so. You guys got to remember, he was a USFL owner.
And he didn't get mad because they wouldn't let him own the NFL team.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him in the NFL, and then the USFL folded. He signed Herschel Walker and Doug Flutie. He had that team, the Generals. And so it's always been, once again, another failed business venture.
And he's had an axe to grind and
he's had an axe to grind. And I think he really wants to destroy the NFL's revenue stream.
And like him going after Jeff Bezos and Amazon. He's got it in for it. Yeah, he does not want that dude to succeed. And Dean says, you're shitting on yourself watching something that they keep in every way showing you you're nothing but a number. You have to have very low self-respect, and making excuses are like a-holes. You never see a Jew supporting anything that don't support them.
Mm-hmm. Hello. Well,
he said it. I did.
Right.
I personally 100% agree with that.
I'm going to give you another good example, and I think it's a damn shame. You have the WNBA. Now, you have D-League male basketball players playing in the WNBA, because most of them are men, and we don't support that. We don't support it.
I can't stand you.
I'm just saying.
I really can't stand you. Most of them are men.
Aren't they?
It's called the Women's National Basketball
But I see dudes with tattoos and the hair and the I thought they were D-League dudes that just transferred over, like Joanna Man. No? But my point is, here are these so-called black women, and we don't even support them. They have to go overseas to make some real money.
Well, you just said the tickets is $80 and
that's nothing to a Laker ticket, and the Lakers suck right now. You're talking about $200-something, and you're in the bleed seat.
Well, let's go. We'll go and support them.
Well, I had season tickets at one time until they started doing it. But now that they're back up on top, I think we're going to go to a couple games. So, but those are dudes.
I do agree with you, Dean. You're absolutely right. And Al says, you two are so right about black people uniting. We can't get despondent because the Bible scripture says you must have faith the size of a sunflower seed, you fool. It's a mustard seed. Crazy. Richard, you says, of course, someone would be mad if a fist was raised, etc. But again, do whatever is allowed within the rules. There are many ways to circumvent. No, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But we only know that if they do that, because up until Kaepernick did it, it wasn't a rule against doing that. It wasn't a rule against it. But since he did it, there's been all this hoopla and this drama. Mm-hmm. Now they got these new rules. And the minute somebody does something adverse to the national anthem, then somebody is going to get their draws in a bunch behind that too.
And here's the funny thing people don't really understand. Did you know at one time, there is no rule to have the national anthem played in the NFL?
Right. And then at one point in time, wasn't the military having to pay to be represented?
Yeah, and they're doing that for propaganda purposes, recruiting purposes and stuff like that. So all of that is it's a revenue stream.
Right.
So there is no rule that says that the national anthem has to be played at these games.
Right. What they've done is they've hijacked the narrative from Kaepernick saying that you guys are being disrespectful to the national anthem and the flag, when he was really saying, no, I'm bringing attention to the police brutality and injustices. That
I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Right. I have a platform. This is what I'm going to say.
Right. And the scene that says the players should walk off the field, game 2, starting with them boys and my Giants, national television.
No. No, I'm with you.
He says, you're right, the players should agree or sue, forcing them to respect an anthem or a flag that has never stood for them or us. Again, I say F them. So he's, I think, speaking to you, collective bargaining thing. And Al says the NFL main concern is not the protest, but they are trying to get the concussion problem under control. What a headache, no pun. Sidney says they would not allow him to become an owner twice in the NFL. I'm referring to the orange sun-kissed toddler.
Exactly.
And then Dean says, not even funny. No, absolutely not. And now Sidney says, stop it, Donovan. They are mostly men. Snatch him.
Hey, I'm sorry. Have you watched the game? Have you been at a game? I mean, I could be wrong, but I saw a bunch of men on the team. Or is it,
maybe you need to clean your glasses off a little bit more.
I'm sorry. Look, you're at the game with me. I mean,
I didn't bring my glasses.
Other than Lisa Leslie, I didn't see no women on the court. Candace Parker, she's a female. Other than that, I haven't seen any females.
That was his views, y'all. And for the podcast, we're going to come right back. Right. And then Richard, you says, actually, the players need to band together for guaranteed contracts. In the NFL, only upfront money is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he also said the national anthem is essentially a secular prayer. true. A secular prayer that really didn't like black people, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I could leave it. Not even take it. Cindy says, Donovan, I represent for the liberty. I support him, but since they are moving to the Long Island, I won't. He said versus Jones.
I hear you.
And Marcus says,